YouTube friends, thanks for joining on Patrick's 1964 Galaxie 500 XL rebuild. So what he's been working on is the door gaps, which is a big job. The quarter was actually tipped out on the passenger side here, so it was out of alignment to the crease at the top. So he fixed that by cutting out a piece of the actual quarter, and then he needed to fix the gappage here because it was quite wide at the top and quite tight at the bottom. So he actually welded up this edge and then cut out on the quarter to get the right gap. And he's been working on some dents, and this is the same problem on the driver's side. So I'll show you over on the driver's side. This isn't quite as far along as the passenger side. It looks like a bit of a scar here that he's got to weld up, but the gap is pretty good from top to bottom, and the door is lining up with that top crease on the quarter pretty well. A little bit more work on this side with dents and just fixing up where that cutout was on the quarter. Friends, I hope that you are enjoying our content, and please give us a like or a subscribe if you are. Thank you.
All right, just gonna do some gapping on this door. As you can see, it's pretty good here. I'm gonna start on the back. It's a little bit wide there, a little bit narrow. I can work on that. That doesn't bother me. This is the one that bothers me the most. If you look right in here, it's high from about here all the way up to here, and it doesn't line up. So I've tried to use a slide hammer to try to pull it out a bit. It helps a little bit, but not enough to get it there. I can try to hammer this down, but I don't need to hammer the bottom part. It's just this top part. So I'm gonna grind, cut, and actually close the gap and then push this in. Wish me luck. All right, well, I haven't welded anything yet, but I did manage to tap it down. It looks pretty darn close. Just going to open the door. See how much it moved inside. Still have a decent gap here, but did cut it down. So now I'm going to weld it up and hopefully it works out good. Stay tuned. I welded everything up, ground it down, and actually it doesn't look too bad. So pretty happy with it. Closes up nice. Much better. All right, I welded the end here. Got the gap pretty nice, pretty close, pretty consistent here, so I'm pretty happy with that. You have to be careful. You have to weld on the end. Don't weld on the top or the bottom. Weld on the end straight in, and it'll keep it from twisting too much. Keep the heat down as best you can. And yeah, pretty happy. So my next step is to do a zip cut down here. I'll probably do it close to the edge here, and then open this up and get it consistent across the back side. But overall, pretty happy with the progress so far. All right, so when I last left off, I had worked on the top part here. You can see I've got a little bit of work to do here. It's still a little bit too narrow on the bottom. Like I mentioned before, I raised the hinge, the door, I guess basically here as high as I could. I'm there. Looking down the side, I mean, it's as aligned as it can be. So I don't have any other choice but to start cleaning that up. Compared to the driver's side, you know, I've got to do a bit more adjusting on that one. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy so far. So this should probably take me the better part of a day to get this gap better off. Stay tuned. All right, well, a bit more of an update. So did some gapping. It looks pretty good right now. Everything's good on the top. And then top to bottom, nice even gap here. You can see a little bit of a dent in the work I did here welding to bring it in. Just to compare to the other side. Alright, so the driver's side, the front gap is pretty good, pretty consistent. Driver's side problem, same thing again. I have to do that. I'm also really tight on this one. It's a little more consistent, but it is quite a bit wider or narrower. So I'm gonna have to do a lot more work. It seems to have not too bad a gap here, but once I get here, it's gonna be pulled out. So I'm gonna do the same as I did on the driver's side, or passenger side. I'm gonna cut it, pull it back, and see how it goes. All right, so I got problem number one solved. Again, not touching the front here. I did here though. Seems to be pretty good now. My gap still pretty consistent there, but it gets pretty narrow at the bottom, so I'm gonna have to do the cutting. That's next. This side was a little bit tougher to work on here. I had worked on this quarter when I put it in, and the metal was pretty thin, so I had to really spend some time cleaning it up. So what you see is what you're gonna get. I'll have to do a little bit of filler there anyways, but yeah, it seems to be okay. All right, this is what it looks like in progress. You can see the line is pretty good now. I'll just show you. I just used one of these, just a measuring stick, and it's nice and tight there. Tight, but it works. So yeah, pretty happy with that so far. I got to clean up a little bit up top, and then the bottom seems to be okay too. So pretty happy with it. Hopefully before the weekend's over, I can have that ground off and ready to epoxy prim. Well, after a long day, I came back to this side and I tightened up the gap a little bit, which meant I had to weld on the end of the door. It did warp a little bit, but not too bad. A little bit of hammer and dolling. I still have a little more to do. Should be good. And this side came out about the same, so I'm pretty happy with that. A little bit of body work I have to do on the quarter, but nothing major. So hopefully when I start doing body work, I'll find out how badly I worked everything.